Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be discussing a very interesting case. So you guys know of the show Tiger King, right? You guys are probably tired of hearing about Tiger King because people have been talking about it. Well, it's died down a little bit, but within the first initial weeks, that's all anyone could talk about, myself included, because it was such a crazy reality. Like, it's hard for me to actually conceptualize that Joe Exotic is a real human who lives in the same world as I do. But anyway, things have gotten more interesting, and don't worry, this isn't even just about Joe Exotic, it's crime related. Well, I guess Joe Exotic is related to crimes because he's in prison, but you know, you'll just see. Here we have the overlap of two of my, I don't want to say favorites because Joe Exotic, yikes, but two things that very much interest me. Joe Exotic and Ghost Adventures. Why a ghost-themed reality show prompted a search for human remains at Tiger King Zoo and what authorities actually found. Cadaver dogs brought onto the grounds of Joe Exotic's former zoo by the paranormal reality show Ghost Adventures apparently alerted the crew that there may be human remains in a defunct alligator pit. See, now, of all of the things that happened in 2020, and mind you, 2020 has been a shit show, so like I don't think I can predict anything at this point, and if I can, I'm kind of scared to predict it because 2020 is like 2016's evil villain cousin. Human remains in the defunct alligator pit. It wouldn't even surprise me. I think that's the thing that when I read this headline, I was like, yeah, sounds about right. Like, that doesn't even sound that crazy considering that Joe Exotic allegedly tried to hire a hitman. Just when it seemed like the Tiger King saga couldn't get any weirder, a paranormal reality show prompted a search of Joe Exotic's former zoo for human remains. Garvin County Sheriff Jim Mullet told Oxygen.com on Monday that Exotic's former Greater Wynwood Zoo, which became the Greater Wynwood Exotic Animal Park under Jeff Lowe's ownership, was searched Friday for a human corpse. Mullet said that no human remains were found, though a dead creature was discovered in the zoo's defunct alligator pit. Like, who's surprised that there's a dead creature? That place was full in a way of dead creatures. Like, they were feeding the lions dead creatures, they were feeding whatever else they had dead creatures, so that isn't necessarily surprising. But then again, it's also a question of, was that creature a meal for one of the animals, or was it like a creature that was supposed to be taken care of? Because there were allegations in Tiger King, not necessarily towards Joe Exotic doing this that I recall, but that other exotic animal keepers would shoot animals once they were out of like the cub phase because cubs attracted more attention. It's very sad. The only thing that was found was the bones of a small animal with a tail, Mullet told Oxygen.com. He said no further searches will be conducted. The quest for possible human remains was prompted after cadaver dogs were brought onto the premises by a television crew for Ghost Adventures. The dogs alerted their trainer to a hit in the alligator pit, Mullet confirmed. Alligators are carnivores, so that makes sense. Big cat activist Carol Baskin, who was awarded the zoo last month as part of a court judgment in a trademark infringement case with Exotic, told Oxygen.com. I think the whole thing was either a publicity stunt or shows that their dogs need to go back to cadaver detection school. Lowe told local outlet KOCO5 on Sunday that he still believes there are human remains on the property. He claims they just haven't been found yet. Lowe has not immediately responded to Oxygen.com's request for comment. Now, let's just pause a second here, because all of these people who are weighing in on the situation are corrupt in some way, because Carol Baskin, her husband, disappeared under mysterious circumstances. We all think she murdered him, allegedly. And then Jeff Lowe is the one who connected Joe Exotic to a hitman. So all of these people chiming in, it's like, I don't know if I trust you with this, because you also have seemingly been tied to death in a very weird way as well, if that makes sense. Lowe hasn't yet transferred the zoo over to Baskin yet. He reportedly has 120 days following the judge's June 1st order to vacate the zoo. I expect that he, Lowe, will use every trick in the book to keep me from actually taking possession, Baskin told Oxygen.com on Monday. Lowe reportedly plans to move the animals to a different location in the state, but Baskin noted that Lowe's tax issues with the state of Oklahoma could present some hurdles for him. Exotic, the zoo's founder, is currently serving 22 years in federal prison for hiring a hitman to kill Baskin, a longtime rival who worked to limit big cat operations like his. Ghost Adventures investigates locations that are believed to be haunted, and they were on the grounds of the now infamous zoo last week for a week to shoot a 2-part special to air on Travel Channel around Halloween, the Las Vegas Review-Journal reports. In addition to searching the grounds, they also took back some artifacts to Las Vegas. The show's host, Zach Bagans, is planning a Tiger King exhibit at his haunted museum. Some of those artifacts are personal effects that used to belong to Joe Exotic and his husband Travis, who shot himself at the zoo, Bagans told the outlet, referencing Exotic's former husband, Travis Maldonado. Other items will be pieces involving documented paranormal events during our investigation. Okay, so there's a lot to process, but let's try and look at this both ways. So if we look at this in the cynical way, even though, well, okay, let's just look at it in 2 ways. So in one way, this could all be a publicity stunt, either by Ghost Adventures to get more traction, though they're already pretty popular, but I'm assuming if people thought that they found remains, it would bring more attention to their 2-part thingy on Joe Exotic. So that could be a possibility. It could also be possible that they brought cadaver dogs that actually did alert and it wasn't planned, so the dogs maybe just made a mistake, so it could just be a circumstantial error rather than something planned. On the other hand, though, I have to say, considering that Tiger King, if you haven't seen it, this isn't really a spoiler. In Tiger King, there's a big death theme, and that goes between Joe Exotic's husband and then Carol Baskin's husband, though he quote-unquote disappeared. Then even between all the other exotic zoo owners, there's always been conversations about death in some way, even when it comes to the animals, like I said before, that some of them allegedly would shoot cubs because they either didn't have the funds to, you know, continue to take care of them, or it was because they just wanted cubs because typically, you know, people gravitate more towards, you know, baby animals compared to a massive fucking lion. Would it really, really surprise me if there were human remains where Joe Exotic, the man who hired a hitman to kill Carol Baskin, who has a husband who's missing / dead, via Jeff Lowe, who was the person who connected him to a hitman, who now owns the property until he transfers it to Carol Baskin? Would it surprise me that there would be a dead body there between 3 people who all have very shady pasts with being moral, let's put it that way, or ethical? Would it really surprise me terribly? No, of course not. In fact, it almost would make sense if there were a dead body there. Like that, I wouldn't even question it, really. If someone told me, hey, in Joe Exotic's zoo, they found a dead body, I'd be like, well, yeah, that would happen. Considering that the point of Tiger King as well is to show the lack of ethical behavior that a lot of people, along with Joe Exotic, demonstrated. So I don't know, I just thought this was like such a shit show between the paranormal, murder, conspiracy theories, people in prison, disappearing husbands. It feels like it's not real. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think. Do you think this was a publicity stunt, or do you think the dogs made an error, or do you actually think there are human remains somewhere there? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons as always, and let's get right